Yes, everybody's on mute, so I'll be the only one speaking tonight. And then if you have any questions, you can type them in the question and answer box at the bottom of your screen. And then I will pull those questions up in between the different sections of my presentation and address the questions as I go through the different sections of the presentation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you so that you can see what I'm going to be working on. The first thing I have to share with you is my agenda for the evening. These are some of the Teachers Discovery digital downloads that I will be referring to in my presentation. And so these, just so you can kind of see what I am using, I will show you how I am able to upload PDFs of these different documents so that I can use them with my students. Just to give you guys a little bit of a background, my name is Melissa Creamer, and I am a teacher in Northeast Ohio, obviously teaching from home. I've been teaching for 20 years in the same school system, and this year I am teaching Spanish 3. I am also one of the co-authors of the Teacher Discovery IPA, the Integrated Performance Assessment Packs, and I am one of the co-authors of the Spanish thematic units. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you basically Google Classroom basics. It's Basics 101. I will show you how to make a class in Google Classroom, and I will show you how to invite your students to join that class. Once we're in Google Classroom, I will show you the different tabs that they have. The first tab will be making announcements, and I'll show you how to do that. Once you get to the Classwork tab, I will show you how to create topics and manage your topics. I will also show you the difference between posting materials, assignments, quizzes, and questions. I'll show you a way to easily send emails to your students. And then at the end of the presentation, I will show you some of the websites that are out there that are great for digital learning that are compatible with Google Classroom, meaning that you can assign the activities from those websites directly to your Google Classroom. I am going to switch between a couple of different resources here. So if you are patient with me, please, I am going to switch now to, let's see. Okay, I am going to switch over to Google. Okay. And I'm going to start by showing you how to get to your Google Classroom. So when you are on Google, and if you just basically launch the internet here and you go to the top of your screen, you're going to see this, it's like a box basically with 9 circles in it. If you click on that feature and you scroll down, you should be able to see something that looks like this, Google Classroom, and that's what you want to click on. So if you look, my Google Classroom right now is blank. I don't have any classes in there. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how to make your first class. So what you're going to do is when you go to the side over here, you have the bars. Okay, this is going to be your main menu where you're going to be able to eventually see all of your classes and click on them. So we're going to start by creating a class. We're going to go over here to the right-hand side, and you're going to click on the plus mark. When you click on the plus mark, you have 2 options. You have the option to join a class or create a class. When you go to create a class, Okay, then you'll have this menu box that pops up. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to name your classes. So if you teach multiple sections, you might want to write down which section this is. So I'm going to start off by saying that this is going to be one of my Spanish 3 classes. And I happen to teach Spanish 3 during second period. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in as the section. You can put your subject again if you would like. So I'm going to label this as Spanish, and my classroom happens to be room 1010. So once you have this information loaded, all you have to do is hit the create button and give it a couple seconds. It'll generate your first class. So there are a couple options that you have. You can continue creating classes in that same way. So if I go over here now back to that menu that I mentioned before, this is where you're going to be able to see all of your classes at one time. So at this point, you've created your first class, and you can then go into that class and start working within the class. So what I want to do then is go ahead and show you what it looks like. If you look now, you can see that it has this blue background with the books and the earphones. If you want to change the background for each of your classes, you can go over here to something called Select Theme, and it allows you to change the background. So I like to change the background for each of my classes so that they don't all look the same. So this is one of the features that you have. You can also upload a photo if you would like to do so. If you look over on the left-hand side of your screen, you have something called a class code. This is unique to this class. Now, if I was sitting in my classroom at the beginning of the year, and this is something I do with all of my kids, is I hit this button and it becomes large on the screen. So I would have the kids put this code into their computer when they're in Google Classroom, and it would allow them to easily enter my class. Because your kids are at home, you're going to want to provide this code to them. So you can do this by, if you wanted to make a Screencastify video and display this code to them, or you can email the code to them so that they can join. Once the students join, they will come in over here at the in the People tab. If you want to, you can individually add your students. You can invite them by typing their name or their email into this section, and then you can go ahead and load them into your class, or you can send them the code so that they can go ahead and join the class. So you have two options with that. For remote learning. So again, emailing them the code if you have all of their emails, or you can add them through this Google feature into the class. If you wanted to invite one of your colleagues to be a co-teacher, you can do that with this feature right here, and you can type in their name or email, and it would give them the same privileges as you. The only thing that they cannot do is delete the Google Classroom itself. Okay, so now that we have created our Spanish 3 classroom, and this happens to be my second period class, there are several things that you can do within this first section, which is called the stream. Okay, sorry, I heard the chime there. So the couple things that you can do within the stream. This is a great place to post announcements. Okay. So if you wanted to give an announcement to your students, so for example, if you wanted to tell them today, we will be doing a live class on Zoom at 2 o'clock. Okay, you could send them this message by posting it in the stream. And then all of your students would get a notification that you have posted this announcement. Okay, let me go back here and just double check on the question. Okay, so a lot of you have questions about attaching documents, and I will definitely do that. I will show you how you can put your documents into a assignment. Okay. So right now we are working on making an announcement. Again, for those of you that just joined or if you're coming in, if you have any questions, there's a question and answer feature at the bottom of your screen. You are more than welcome to type those questions in that section. And then throughout the presentation, I will open those up and try to answer those for you. So where we're at right now is that if you look over here on my screen, I have created one class so far, and I am working inside of that particular class. So this is going to be my Spanish 3 class. It's the class that I have during second period. So if you look at this top part here, the first tab is called Stream. And we've already talked about over here how the People tab is how you can add your students as well as add a co-teacher. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the stream and just wanted to let you know that the stream is also where their assignments are going to pop up in regards to letting them know that there is an assignment in the classwork section. Okay, so now most of us will have more than one class that we're teaching at a time, and some of you will have more than one section or of a level. You can obviously make more classes. I'll show you how the classwork feature first, and then I'll show you how you can go ahead and make more classes. If you look at the classwork tab, this is where you're going to assign the work to your students. You can create assignments. You can create and post a quiz. You can post a question. You can give them materials, and then you can create topics. So one of the things that I like to do, I have to keep all of my posts organized just for myself, but I also think it's very helpful for my students, is I like to go ahead and I like to create the topics that I'm going to be posting about. So something that I do with my students every day is I do something called a daily warm up. And this is just an activity that I assign to them that's quick, it's easy, and it's a way for me to take attendance, to let me know that they're all logging on, they're looking at the assignments, they're checking their Google Classroom, they're checking the announcements. So it's just a way for me to check in with them. I've also seen some teachers just call this the attendance feature, and they post one question a day just for the kids to answer to show that they are checking their Google Classroom and they're keeping up with their work. So if you want to have a topic within your classwork stream, you would go ahead and add that in. And then the other topic that my Spanish 3s are currently working on is that they are doing the imperfect verb tense. So I would create a topic called el imperfecto. Oops. And then they would know that any assignments that I give related to the imperfect would be underneath that tab. And you can move these. So if you want your daily work to be the first thing that they see, you can go over here to this circle that has the 3 dots inside of it, and you can move your topics based on where you would like for them to be. So I want my daily warm up to be the first thing that they see, and then the imperfecto to be the next thing that they see. And then something else that we're working on right now is childhood. So we're talking about la niñez. And I go up here on my feature, hopefully, and grab my enye. And I'm going to make that my third topic. And again, I want the kids to first see the daily warm-up. So I have my 3 topics of what we're going to be studying during 4th quarter. And again, another option for this daily warm-up is to do attendance in case you want to just have them check in with you and make sure it allows you to know that they are coming into Google Classroom and checking their stream and looking for announcements and assignments. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to post. And if you want to provide materials for your students, one of the things that you can do is you can use this material feature. So for example, if I'm going to be working with the imperfect tense, and you'll have to excuse me as I'm going to click on Let's see, my tabs up here, trying to see them. Okay. One of the things that I'm going to want them to do is we're going to be talking about their childhood and things that they used to do as a child. So this actually comes from a resource called the Weekly Writing Prompts for Spanish 2. And this is something that I would like for them to have access to for talking about their childhood. It's something that they're also going to be writing in the imperfect tense. And my thoughts on using this is that they can use the vamos a escribir, which means we're going to write section as a writing. But I also thought that I would turn the mini cuento, the mini story, into a presentational speaking, and I would have them actually do that section using Flipgrid, and they would make a presentation using that title, Cuando era niño. But I still need to provide this document to them so that they can see it. So one of the things that I am able to do is I can take this download that I got from Teachers Discovery. And again, the download is called Weekly Writing Prompts, and this is a level 2 book. And I can go ahead and hit the print feature on it. And when I get to the print feature, it will allow me to save it as a PDF. Now, I only need certain sections of this. And so I actually only want them to see page 12. So I'm going to go ahead and type in page 12 here underneath my custom page. And you have to choose this save as a PDF feature so that it saves as a PDF and it doesn't actually print it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that and save it as a PDF. To close this out. And then that's going to go ahead and download for me. So then that way I can upload it later to my Google Classroom. Okay, so knowing that that is the document that I want them to have access to, I'm going to go ahead and go back to my Google Classroom. And I want to now post that document for them. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to create a material because this document isn't really something that they need to finish and return to me. Instead, they're going to use it for inspiration for an assignment. So I'm going to click on material and I'm going to call it Cuando era niño o niña. And I want to be able to deliver this material to my students. So what I am going to do, and I'm hoping that it's going to be here. Looks like I'm going to have to pull it off of my, nope. Okay, so I'm going to find it here in my downloads. I'm going to open it up as an attachment, and I'm going to come down here and hit upload. And now they're going to be able to see that document as a material, and they're going to be able to open it as a PDF. Okay, and then I'm going to let them know that this is a resource to use for a speaking assignment. And if you come over here, if I pull down the topic, I can choose where I want the assignment to pop up. So I would like for it to pop up underneath La Niñez. I want it to go to all the students in the class. And then I'm going to hit post. And if you look now here, it comes up underneath La Niñez. So when they click on it, they will have access to the actual PDF. It's very faint in this box right here. You can't actually see it very well, but it is a PDF image of page 12 only of that packet. I obviously don't want to provide them the whole packet because the packet is going to contain more pages than they need. So that is one way that you can provide a PDF to your students so that they can use it for the assignment that you're going to be giving. Okay. Let me check the questions here. See if there's anything else. Okay. Yes, you can see the agenda at the end of the meeting, and I will show you some of the other things that I am doing with my with my classes, my Spanish 3s and my 2s. Let's see. Okay. Oh, the special characters. Okay. Yes, that is a question, and I will show you that. That's actually a Google Chrome extension. So I will show you that. It is super helpful. And okay. Okay, I will slow down. I'm sorry. I only have an hour and I have a lot of things I want to show you. So I apologize for moving too quickly. So hopefully you've been able to keep up so far, and I will try to slow things down just a little bit. Okay, so if you look over here in the stream, when the kids log into the Google Classroom, they will see that I have posted a new material for them here. And so that's one of the things that you can post for your students. I'm going to go back to Classwork now, and I am going to show you how to, if you wanted to have a document that you're going to upload to all of your students. So if you are in your Google Classroom and you want all of your students to have access to something so that they all have their own copy that they can manipulate, you can do that as well. So I believe this was a question that Jill had, that she wanted to know how to make sure every student got a copy. So you want to go to create an assignment or a material if it's a material that's coming from your Google Drive. And so here, let's see. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually give them an assignment that's going to come off my Google Drive. This is my personal Google Drive, not my school Google Drive. So I'm not 100% sure what's going to be here, but let me just show you an example. Okay, so if I wanted every student in my class to have access to a specific document. So for example, I want them all to have access to, let's see if I want to have something on here. I apologize for kind of flowing through here. I want them all to have access to this particular Google form, for example. I'm going to go ahead and, oh, well, no, this one's not going to work. Let me see if I can try. Okay. There we go. I'm going to have them all have access to my handout. Okay. So I want every kid to be able to have their own version of this document so that they can write on it. If I choose this feature that says students can view file, they can only see it. They can't type on it. They can't do anything to it. If I want them to all share one document, so if I wanted to upload a Google Doc and I wanted everybody to type on the same doc, then I would give them this option. Students can edit. If I want every student to receive their own individual copy, which I do with my students personally, I want them to have their own copy because I want them to type their answer on it and then return it to me. I choose this feature that says make a copy for each student. That means every student who is registered in this Google Classroom will get a copy of this particular assignment. The other option I have over here is I can go ahead and I can let them know how many points this activity is worth. So if my kids are going to be doing a quick reading activity and I want it to be worth 10 points, I can go ahead and let them know that after I read their response, I'm going to go ahead and give them 10 points if they did it correctly. Underneath where it says due, because I want them to do this on the day that I assign it, I'm going to pick today, April 9th. And then I'm going to give them until 11:59 p.m. to do the assignment. So this is going to be due today, April 9th by 11:59. And I'm going to go ahead and put this underneath my daily warm up activity so that way they're doing it as part of their daily warm up. So I want them to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and name this, and I'm going to say that this is a practice reading activity. And now this is the feature I like. Over here on the side, you can schedule when you want this to be posted, or you can save it as a draft. So a lot of times I'll start something and then I'll think, oh, I want to add this or I want to create this. And so I don't want to get rid of the post. I want to come back to it later. Or you can schedule it. So for us, we're supposed to upload everything for the kids at 8 a.m. On a school day. And sometimes I wake up and I'm trying to get my own kids started and I think, oh, I forgot to get that posted by 8 o'clock. You can go ahead and schedule it to be posted on a specific day at a specific time, and it will automatically post for you. So this is a really nice feature because you can save it as a draft and come back to it later. You can schedule it, or you can go ahead and actually assign it. And it's just makes things a little bit easier for you. You can create the assignment the night before and then have it post automatically the next day. And then you don't run into any issues. Like a couple of nights ago, I was working on an assignment and I accidentally posted it at 10:30, and I had kids doing the assignment at 11, 12, 1, 2 in the morning. I don't want to put that on them at that time. I don't want them up late trying to work on their assignments. It was my fault that I accidentally posted it. But generally speaking, I tend to schedule them and have them all scheduled to post at 8 a.m. because I do have quite a few kids that get up early and try to get their work done early. So that's a really nice feature that you have. If you're ready to go ahead and sign it, you can go ahead and click assign, and that will come up in your Google Classroom underneath Classwork. And then it will also pop up on the stream. So if you look, here's that practice reading activity underneath the daily warm up. And then if I go back to the stream, it lets them know that I have also put that activity into the classwork. Another feature that you have is that you can create a question. So if you wanted to, you can ask them something as simple as, how is your day going? And you can do that in your target language. And, you can ask them you can decide if you want a short answer, if you want a multiple choice answer, do you want to put points to it or not? You could also tell them that it's ungraded and that you just want them to answer, and it allows them to then see that you have a question for them. And you can put it underneath one of your specific topics, or you can just have it posted here at the top. And it's a way for them to check in with you. And you can also see that they are checking Google Classroom and that they're responding. So that's what a question would look like for you. And then as they turn it in, it will show up here. It'll let you know that they've done the assignment. One of the things that you have to be careful of is that your students understand that they have to hit the submit button. When the assignment comes to them, over in the top right-hand corner, they'll get a screen, and their screen is different than what ours looks like. So I happen to be helping my own kids with their Google Classroom assignments now that we're at home. And on the right-hand side of their screen, when they log into their own personal Google Classroom, their assignments pop up over here on the right. And there'll be any attachments. And underneath the attachment feature, there is a button that says submit. If you attach for the students a Google Doc or a slide presentation for them to do, even if they do the assignment on the Google Doc and they answer the questions in the slide presentation, if they don't hit the submit button, then it looks like they did not do their work. And so you really want to make sure that you reinforce with them that they hit the submit button so that it comes back to you as being turned in. And then that way you can go ahead and grade it. So I know that was a question that Paula had, that Paula was saying that some of her students, their work was showing up as being not submitted. You might want to remind them that they do have to hit the submit button. So even if they type on the doc, you can still see that they did type on it, but it's going to show up as not being turned in because they didn't hit that button. So you want to make sure that you encourage your students to go ahead and hit that submit button. Okay, so I'm going to go back over here now where I've been in the classwork section, and we've talked about posting an assignment, a material. We've also talked about a question. So here's something called a quiz assignment. And this gives you a chance to attach a Google form as an assessment that they're going to do. And then that way, this is a way of posting a Google form quiz if you wanted them to have a assessment on something that you've been doing. So you can go ahead and create the quiz that you're going to give them using the Google form. You can also just go ahead and upload a Google form that you want them to complete. So if you use that feature of it, it allows you to then give them a quiz as part of their assignment. So that's another a feature that you have that you can use as well. Okay, so I'm going to go back over here because obviously we have more than one class. I'm going to go back to my main page. And I wanted to show you how to, well, this is something I like to, is when they log in, this comes up right away to let them know that there's an assignment and there's a due date and a time that they need to have it done by. So that's a nice feature that they can log in and they can see all of their classes across the screen and they can see what is due for today. So if you want to go ahead and if you have more than one section of Spanish 3, you can go up to this circle here that has the 3 little circles inside of it, and you can hit copy. And then this allows you to create a copy of that class that we just worked with. So now if this is going to be my Spanish 3 class, but now this is going to be my 3rd period class, I can make those couple of changes. Oops. And I'm going to hit the copy button. And it allows me to copy everything that I've already done in that first classroom. Okay, and so here is my, oh, it's still working. It says it's still creating. Okay, so the next one will come up. It'll say that it is my 3rd period class. Okay, so it will copy everything that we've already done inside of this class period. So if I go over here and look, I may want to move it around a little bit since it's 3rd period. I want it to come after my 2nd period class. So by using this feature again here, I can go ahead and move it so that I have 2nd period followed by 3rd period. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I am going to change the background just because for me it's easier to have different colors and I can differentiate the classes. Okay, so this was the 2nd class I created. If you look, everything that we've already done is here. And so I can go ahead and I can say, yes, I want to go ahead and assign this to them. I'm going to ask the question to them as well. And I want them to do this daily warm up as well. So I'm going to go to edit assignment. I'm going to make sure it's assigned to them. So now if you go back to your main classes page, you can see here's my 2nd period Spanish 3 class. Here's my 3rd period class of Spanish 3. If you have a section of Spanish 2, then all you have to do is go back over here to the plus and create a class. And now this time I'm going to call it Spanish 2. This is going to be my 4th period class. And again, you can repeat the subject there. And I happen to be in room 110. And this will allow me to create my next group. And every class that you create will have a unique code. So the students that are going to join your 4th period class will have a different code than the students that are in your 3rd period class and your 2nd period class. And again, ways to add them is you can come over here and add them via their email address, or you could send, if you already have all of their email addresses, you could just send them the code and tell them to go to Google Classroom and enter this code, and they can go ahead and join a class. When they go to their Google Classroom, they just have to go to the plus in the top right-hand corner, and they go to join class, and they type the code that you've given them into here, and then they will automatically join your class that you have created. So, oh, there we go. All right, and then I want this class to come after my 3rd period class. I'm going to go in and change the theme. So again, it looks different. I like to have every class a different color so that I don't get them mixed up. And they now become gray. And then I can go in here and I can make the topics that I need for my Spanish 2 class. And then I can post the assignments that I would like to give to the students who are in this particular class. Okay, let me go back and check the questions. Okay. Yes. So one of the questions was, if you post a question, who will see the answer? When you post something on here, you are the one to, to see the answers, unless the students comment on the assignment itself, or the question itself. Otherwise, it does give them the option to make a private comment on an assessment or an assignment. It allows them to go ahead and give you a private question versus posting to the assignment as a whole. So let me go back to Spanish 3 class here. And if I go to Classwork, right here, there's a section that says class comment. If the students want everybody in the class to see this, so for example, if a student says, oh, do we need to keep a copy? Maybe they think their question's a good question, it will apply to everybody. They can go ahead and type their question or their comment underneath where it says class comment, and then everybody will see it and everybody will see your answer. When the students open up the assignment in their own Google Classroom, over on the right-hand side underneath where it gives them the attachments, there's a separate area that says private comment. They can make a comment there that only you will see, and you can respond to that comment, and they are the only ones that will see the response. So they actually have 2 options for making asking a question or making a comment. They can either do it on the class assignment itself or the class post itself, or they can do it when they're in Google Classroom and they open up the assignment. They can go ahead and do that underneath the private section. Okay, so let's go down here. Okay, let's see. I think I covered, Esteban, I think I covered your question with make multiple and copy multiple new separate classes. So again, if I go back here, you can see that I have my 2nd period Spanish 3 class, my 3rd period Spanish 3 class, here's my 4th period class. And again, all you have to do is hit this tab to create a different class. Maybe you teach a literature class or, AP, another prep. You can keep creating classes. But if you want to, if you have more than one section of Spanish 3 or more than one section of Spanish 2, and you want to just go ahead and copy, you always have that option. If you click on the circle with the 3 little circles inside, if you hit copy, it's going to go ahead and copy everything that's in there, including the assignments that you have posted. So that's a way where you can make multiple classes of the same level. And I think, okay. So some of the other things that you can do, is within Google Classroom itself, underneath the classwork, if you want them to do something, and let's see, once they turn the assignment in itself, you can go ahead and start looking at grades. So you may have noticed that there's this grade tab over here. Because I don't have any students in these classrooms right now, it's not going to show you what it looks like. But underneath grades, if you have activities that are directly connected to the Google Classroom and they can be automatically graded, the students' names will pop up here with the grade that they received on the activity. And so if you want them to do something on an outside site, for example, you want them to do an Ed Puzzle listening activity, then, and they get a 9 out of 10 because you had 10 questions on your Ed Puzzle, their score will load back into Google Classroom and let you know what they got on that particular activity, and it'll show up underneath grades. Otherwise, you have the option of grading it yourself. So when I do the daily warm-up activities with my kids, generally speaking, I give them a Google slide, and the Google slide has either a quick reading or sometimes I'll just post a joke that they have to tell me what they think it means and did they think it's funny. Or I will post a listening activity for them to do. And then over here where it says turn in, once I click on that, underneath here is where it will tell me the name of all the students. It'll tell me that they turned it in or not. And then in this section here where it says no students yet, so nothing to review, an image of whatever it is that they turned in will pop up. And then I can go through and I can grade each of those. When I click on it, it'll allow me to add a grade to the assignment. So I can give them a grade out of 10. And as soon as I grade it over here, that grade will then pop up on this side as well. So it allows you to go ahead and look at what they did. So if you assign them something on Google Slides that they had to do, and you wanted to read their response and you decided that it was worth a 9 out of 10, you can give them a 9 out of 10 on the assessment or the activity, and then it would show up over here. Okay. Let's see. Let me go back to the question and answers. Yes, so then one of the questions was asking about that grade feature. So hopefully I answered that for you. You can tie it into Google Calendar. Excuse me. So if you look here on the Google Calendar itself, if you remember, I posted that assignment. This will show up for them on their Google Calendar, sorry, for this class, and then they can go to it. It will take them directly to the assignment so that they can see it. So yes, there is a link to the calendar, and then they can see it over here on the Google Calendar that they have that and that it is due. All right. Okay. Okay. Oh, this is a good question. Okay. Let me go back and show you how you can post an assignment to multiple classes. So if you want to post something to Spanish 3, you only have to post it one time. So if there's a Spanish 3, if you remember, I have 2 sections of Spanish 3 now. I want to create an assignment for the Spanish 3 students. So I want them to do a daily reading. And I'm going to attach for them let's see. Oh, this is music. And so let's say that this is going to be a listening, because they're actually going to do a listening with this song. Okay. And I want them all to have their own version of it, because they're going to type their answer over here on this little section. I'm going to go up here to this feature where it says 4, and I can decide which of my classes I want to assign this to. So this is going to be a Spanish 3 assignment. I want to make sure that both of these classes receive the same assignment. I'm going to make it worth 10 points. I want them to do it for tomorrow, which is the 10th. So I'm going to give them until the 10th at 11:59. And I'm going to put this under my daily warm up, since it is something that they're going to do at the beginning of class. I'm going to consider this a attendance check to make sure that they're checking in. And I'm going to go ahead and assign it to them. And again, each student will get their own copy of it so that they can type in the text box here. And then when they return it to me, I'll be able to read their answer and give them a grade out of the 10 points. And so when I hit assign, it will go into both of those Google Classrooms that are set for Spanish 3. Let's see. It's taking a couple minutes to upload there. Okay, so if we go to it and I click on it, again, once they're done with it, they have to hit submit on their end, and then it'll show up here as being turned in. And then I can go in and I can look at their answers and I can give it a grade. So they'll each individually have their own copy of this Google slide presentation. Once they put their answer on their copy, nobody else will see it except for me. And it'll show up in the stream letting them know that I posted this new assignment. And the nice thing is, excuse me, over here, it'll show them what they have due today, due tomorrow. And then also when they go into their Google Classrooms and they have their list of all their classes on here, it'll show them what is due today versus what is due for tomorrow. Okay, let me double check those questions. No, even if I copy a class, they will all get a different class ID. Every one of these classes has a different class ID. So if you look at Spanish 3 here, second period, their ID has this ALCK. That will not be the same as my third period Spanish class. Theirs starts with the CAF, and then my fourth period class starts with the D2S. So every class will have a unique code that is only given to that class. So the nice thing about that is that these are considered password protected. That means that you can go ahead and upload PDFs of the digital downloads that you purchase from Teachers Discovery. Because they are password protected. So for example, if you bought one of the Tu Puedes apps or any of the other listening apps, you could post these codes in Google Classroom and tell them to go to the Tu Puedes listening app and type in the code. And you can go ahead and provide that information to them in the Google Classroom because it's password protected. It's not open to the public. So here's another one of the downloads. This happens to come from the Argentina, looks like this, Lecturas Culturales de Argentina. And this is the download of the reading about soccer. And I really liked this activity because not only did it give them the reading, but it had this little activity here with a Wordle. And it's seeing if you could give a brief synopsis of what you read without looking at the actual reading, but using these particular words only. I thought that would make a nice little speaking activity for them to do in Flipgrid, that they could look at these words and try to tell you what they learned from the story using these words only. So again, this was page 12 of this PDF. So I would go over here to save as a PDF, and I would only want to provide them pages. Oh, let's see. Nope, I don't want to give them the answers. Let's see. I want them to have, let's go back here. Pages 8 and 9, it looks like. So I would go over here again to this PDF feature, I would go to custom. I would hit pages 8 and 9. And then over here, it'll show me a little preview of what I'm saving. I'm going to go ahead and save this in my downloads. And then I can go back to the Google Classroom. I can go to the Classwork feature. Oh, come on, catch up. And if I'm going to assign this to my Spanish 3s, and this is something that I want them to do as a daily warm up, I can go ahead and say that I'm going to create an assignment. And I'm going to call this the soccer reading and speaking, because I would like for them to turn that into a speaking. And then I would attach that download for them. It's a little bit of a lag here, and I apologize for that, but this will then give them a copy of that, of just those 2 pages, because obviously I don't want to give them a copy of the answer key. And then they don't really need to write on it. So I could say student, view a file that they can only see it, because they obviously won't need to write on it. Or I can make a copy for each of them if there was something for them to actually, do. But, for now, I can just provide this as a file, but let them know that they're going to use it as a resource. And I want it to be assigned to both of my Spanish 3 classes. And this is something that I want them to do for, Monday the 13th by 11:59. And I'm going to put it under my daily warm up. And then that way I'm going to let them know that they're going to read the article and complete the activity. And then that way they'll get their own copies of that PDF. And it'll show up just like this. And if you look, you can see the soccer ball right there that came on that PDF that I made from that digital download. Okay, and let me go back to the questions and answers quickly. Right, so anything you purchase from Teachers Discovery as a digital download, you can post it into Google Classroom, even if it's, a book that you're working on or whatever, because it's password protected. Let's see. With using Word and with using any of the Microsoft, you would have to upload the Word document to your Google Drive. You would have to upload the PowerPoint presentation to your Google Drive and convert them to Word docs or Google Docs. Otherwise, you could import them just like I did those PDFs. If you have them on a drive somewhere, you would be able to upload them, but the students would have to convert them to Google, whether it's a Google Doc or a Google Slide, in order to actually be able to work on those documents and slides. Let's see what else. I'm trying to get through all these questions, sorry. How can you switch off an assignment? So once the assignment is there, let's see. So here's this one. If I don't want them to see it anymore, if I'm done with it, you can delete it, but you delete all of the content with it. If they turn it in after the due date that you have posted, so if you wanted it, due by today at 11:59, it'll tell you that they turned it in late. Otherwise, you do have the option of deleting the assignment, and then they will no longer see it, but you won't have access to it either. So you can do that. Let's see. So making separate classes, for me, it's easier to manage them all by having them all separate. I teach 5 classes, and so I have every class as their own, only because the students are then in the group. It's easier for me when I'm doing my grade book, because if I open up my second period class, I can open up my second period class and have my second period Google Classroom open, and I can put the grades over easier. And the thing that I like about it is that they can make public comments and they can see each other's comments. And so sometimes they'll help each other with that. It's just easier for me personally to manage. If you chose to have all of your Spanish 3 students in one Google Classroom, that would totally be your own preference. So it's how you would want to set it up. I think it's easier to have a Google Classroom for each one of your different sections, and that way you can manage your students easier. Um, One of the features that I like of this is once the students are added here into the people section, when you have their names over on the right-hand side, it'll give you a little circle next to their name. And when you click on it, it allows you to automatically email them. So if I look and I see that a student's not doing their assignments, I can go over then here and just quickly click to email them and send them a quick message and just say, hey, you're not, I noticed you didn't do your assignment from yesterday. Is everything okay? So that's another feature. If you have the students in there, you can find them easier, probably find them quicker. Let's see, someone here is asking if you assign to multiple classes, you can't schedule. Yes, you can schedule the assignment. So one of the features that we have when you are doing that, and let me go back up here, is when you go to the create button and you go to the assignment button. Let's see if I'm going to give them a writing. And if you look over here next to the blue assign button, it gives you a couple of options. You can either save it and come back to it another time because you haven't finished it yet, or you can schedule when you want it to post. So I usually create my assignments the night before, and then I schedule them to post at 8 a.m. Because that's what our school has asked us to do, is to have all assignments posted by 8 a.m. the next day. I noticed when I accidentally posted something, I posted it Tuesday night at around 10:30. When I logged into my email on Wednesday morning, because it tells you when the student submitted the assignment, it gives you a timestamp. I noticed my kids were turning them in at like 11, 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I did not intend for that to happen. I didn't want them staying up to do the work. I think some of them were bored, so they just did it. But that was my mistake. I didn't want them to do that. I thought that I was delaying the assignment, but I generally will make the assignments the night before and schedule them to pop up at 8 a.m. The only bad thing about that is my own kids are also supposed to be getting on their Google Classrooms at 8. So I'm usually trying to make sure that they're up and that they're getting their Chromebooks and that they're logging in and doing their own work. And then, with the balance, which I think we're all, those of us that have kids at home and are trying to teach from home, we're trying to find that balance between teaching our own classes and helping our own kids. It's really nice that this feature is there because I don't have to worry about running over to my computer and making sure that I post the assignment. I know that it's on this delay and that it will post and that they'll see it at 8 o'clock when they need to. And then once I have my own kiddos working, I can come back then and start answering any questions that they have that they start to post. So there is this feature over here to where you can either save it as a draft because you're not finished, or you can schedule it to post at a later time. And again, this feature here allows you to post it to however many classes you would like so that you don't have to keep posting it over and over again. And this is where you can select the topic that you want to put it under to help keep you organized. And then of course, picking your due date and the time that you want it due. Okay, let me pop back over to the, let's see. So one of the questions was the grade system. So a lot of the websites that are compatible, and this is my fourth slide. These are some of the websites that I've been using that happen to be compatible, that what they do in the website will connect back to the activity for you. So for example, for Edpuzzle, if the kids do an Edpuzzle and they get a 9 out of 10 because you posted, there were 10 questions to the listening that you were doing, that grade will come back into Google Classroom as soon as they finish it, because you know, you've assigned the Edpuzzle to them. So if I go to Edpuzzle, let me see if I can log into my account, because I'm actually doing this presentation from my personal Google, since I can't show you my school account because it has all my own students' personal names in there. Let me see if I can log into Edpuzzle. But Edpuzzle is one of the ones that's actually compatible with Google Classroom. It's probably not going to let me. Some of the other ones that are compatible now are Flipgrid. So you can connect Flipgrid back to, oh geez, let me see. You can connect Flipgrid back. I think I accidentally clicked out of that slide presentation. I have too many tabs open. Sometimes I feel like that's my brain at the same time too. My brain has too many tabs open. So Edpuzzle is one of them I use a lot that connects back. Quizzes will connect back for you. And Flip will connect back to you, so that when you assign something, you have to go to the Edpuzzle website and you can go ahead and assign that back to them. It will load back into Google Classroom. Let's see. Conjugemos just added a feature that it will come back to Google. You can actually assign them something in Conjugemos and it'll pop up in Google Classroom. You can choose to give it to them in Google Classroom. Flipgrid, you can use Pear Deck. If you have the Pear Deck slide add, this is an add-on that you can use when you're making a Google slide presentation. It helps you create interactive slides. So I did one yesterday with my students where they had to drag and click words together, and then it allows you to see their progress. You can use Pear Deck to monitor their progress, but you can actually put the assignment in Google Classroom. You can connect Flipgrid back, as well as Quizzes and Quizlet. So these are websites that have a feature within them that allow you to post the assignment in your Google Classroom. And then it just depends on whether you're having the students, what you're having the students do, as to whether it will grade it or not. The Edpuzzle will grade it and send it back over to you in Google Classroom. If you do give your students, though, a assignment that is, so for example, if you gave them, I'm sorry, I have so many tabs here open at one time. But if you give them, you know, a Google slide that you want to grade, then you will have to grade that yourself, obviously, and put that grade into the Google Classroom for them to see. Let's see. Too many things open. So you would have to grade that and put the grade back in there for them to see. Okay. Second period Spanish 3. Yes. So my second period class of Spanish 3 is different than my third period class of Spanish 3. And then because I have 5 classes and I teach second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth periods. I'm off first period and seventh period. So each one of my class periods is a different classroom. So let's see. If you have to create, yeah, so you are going to want to create a classroom for each class if you're going to give different due dates. So if you're seeing your second period class on Monday, Wednesday, and you're seeing your third period class on Tuesdays and Thursdays, then you're obviously going to want to post in each of those individual classrooms and give them different due dates. Let's see, Suzanne was asking about the download PDF button. The PDF button is actually on the PDF itself. So when I open the PDF, I bought this as when you buy these as a download, and you come over here to the feature, this is how I print it as a PDF and save it to my as a download. So that feature is on the PDF download itself. It's not actually in Google Classroom. Yeah, so Bonita, you were asking about some resources that are compatible with Google Classroom. You were right. So Quizzes is compatible with Google Classroom. With Edulastic, I use Edulastic with my kids when I'm at school. I am not using it currently with them from home. And when I used Edulastic with them, it was only because I needed to give them access to a video. I still gave them paper and pencil, tests. And so I am not 100% sure of the compatibility of Edulastic. It is now compatible with Conjuguemos. They added that feature back at the beginning of April, and it's compatible with Quizlet. If you have Quizlet, they're offering the premium for free right now, and Edpuzzle is also being offered. So either of those, the Edpuzzle, the Quizlet, the Quizzes, Conjuguemos, those are all compatible with Google Classroom, meaning that when you create an assignment, you can go ahead and share it directly to Google Classroom, and then that will post, and you'll still have the same options if you want to post it immediately or if you want to delay it. Let's see. So for Google Classroom, it is right, you're going to use your school. You want to use your school Google email to create a school account. I just happen to be using my personal Google for this presentation only because I didn't want to have my students' names popping up on the screen for that particular, for my school one. I'm not sure if I can. Yeah, so I'm giving this demo using my personal Gmail account instead of my school account, just because I didn't want to accidentally show my students' names during the presentation. Let's see. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I forgot about the special character. So this is a Chrome extension that I use, and it allows for you to get all of these special characters. And let's see. Looking to see, I forget what it's called. Here it is, extensions. It's just a Chrome extension that I added on, special characters. It's called special characters, click and paste. And then you add it on as a Chrome extension. And then when you go to it, this will pop up. And then all you have to do is click on the one that you want, and then it copies. So now that copies, and then you can take it back and use it when you're typing something. So for me, it's just become a habit. It's easy to just come up here and grab the special character that you want, especially for the upside down question mark. And you can, it has all the characters in all different languages. Like it tells you you can have Spanish, French, Italian, German. So it does give you quite a few to choose from. So that's just a Chrome extension that I added on to mine. And I have my kids added on as well. It makes it easier for them. Yeah, thank you, Peter. I appreciate it. You are more than welcome to email me with any questions that you have, and I will do my best to help you and answer those questions. I think we're all in the same boat where we're just trying to figure out how to best teach our kids remotely, digitally. And, you know, just like on my presentation today, I feel like I have all these different tabs open at one time, and I'm trying to click in between them all. But generally speaking, it's been a good experience so far. I'm thankful for my kids and how patient that they've been with me. And, you know, I use Google Classroom every day with them. And, you know, a couple little flaws here and there where I accidentally posted something 3 times and they were very polite, let me know, hey, senora, I think you made a mistake. And, you know, they've been really patient as well. So, you know, we're all in it together. So please, you know, feel free to send me an email with any questions that you have. Michelle, Edulastic is an app on the computers that the kids can use that it locks their screen. So when they're watching a video, so I still do integrated performance assessments on paper. I guess maybe I'm old school, but when I give an IPA, I put the video in Edulastic and then I lock it in Edulastic so that they can't click out of it and they can't click and, you know, leave the screen without leaving the assessment. So that means if they're watching a video and they're filling out the paper, then they can't go to Word Reference, they can't go to Google Translate. That's the assessment video on their screen and they see that only. So that's something that I don't use a lot, and I'm not extremely fluent, I guess, in Edulastic. The only thing I really truly know how to do with it is put a video in it, lock the video, and then have the kids launch the video and use it for a listening activity. Yes, so thank you, Suzanne. Good luck to you too. Yes, there is going to be a PDF of a certificate that Chuck will have available for anybody who watched the webinar. And Sherilyn was asking about Screencastify. I haven't made a webinar on how to use Screencastify. I made a webinar on how to use the thematic units and the IPAs, which is available on the Teachers Discovery YouTube channel. It's also on their website. If you go to the website and you look for the IPAs or thematic units, the videos are on there. I used Screencastify to make those videos, but I do use Screencastify to make videos of myself teaching, and then I put those videos in Edulastic and I add in questions for the kids. You know, my videos sometimes get interrupted by my own kids and there's silly things going on, but I do use Screencastify quite a bit, and it's great. They've just lifted the 5-minute the videos. When I used it for free could only be 5 minutes, but they've lifted that now for teachers. So it is definitely a great website out there for you to use. If you had questions about it, I'd be more than willing to answer those questions for you. Lisa, I'm so glad I gave you some confidence. Good luck with it. Again, if you have questions, please email me. For Claudia, for posting recordings of their presentations. So on Friday, last Friday, I did something with my kids called Baile Viernes. It's a silly thing that I do with my kids every Friday in the classroom, is I would post a quick video that I found of a dance. And we would just, you know, as a brain break, we would get up in the middle of class and we would do this dance. And when we started doing remote learning, that's the first thing they asked about was, are we going to still do Baile Viernes? So I was like, of course we are. And I kind of step out of my comfort zone with the Baile Viernes thing. I'm not a great dancer. And my kids are great about it, because even how goofy I look, they're just they get up and dance with me. So I actually made a video on my cell phone, and then on my cell phone, I loaded the video to my Google Drive. And then I just took it right out of my Google Drive and shared it with my kids as a material. I then gave them an assignment last Friday to learn a dance that I saw on TikTok, and I'm trying to relate to them because I know they're into TikTok. And I said, you know, if you choose to do this, you know, upload a video from your phone, or you can show me your TikTok. And they were able to just put the video in their Google Classroom and attach it back to the assignment. So they don't have to have a special app to record a video. They can record it right on their phone. They can record it on their Chromebook. and then just save it to their drive, and they can attach it to any assignment that they do. Toral, you were asking if I use Google Meet. You can attach a Google Meet invite to your Google Classroom if you are using Google Meet. I started using Zoom with my students because it had that wait room feature, and I felt more comfortable having a wait room because I kept hearing all these stories about Zoom bombing, and I wasn't 100% sure if Google Meet has come up with a way to avoid that or not. So I have been using Zoom just for my own personal comfort level. I felt like that wait room feature was really nice, and I used Zoom last Thursday, matter of fact, to do GimKit. GimKit's another website that my kids absolutely love, and so I had them all come into a Zoom meeting, and I had them all go to GimKit on their phone, and then I projected the leaderboard so that they could all see the leaderboard using my Zoom. And then when we were done with that, I just continued using Zoom to give them an update on myself and asking them how they were doing. And I did a lot of like, raise your, give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down, and if I was asking the kids questions, then I could unmute them, but I kept them on mute most of the time. Let's see. Yes, so everybody, you are welcome. Thank you so much for the encouraging messages. Yeah, again, I do prefer Zoom right now, only because I like that wait room feature, but if I could figure out how to make sure I do that with Google, with the Meet, I would gladly use that as well. I heard so many people talking about this Zoom bombing. I didn't even know what Zoom bombing was until this week. And I looked it up, and I realized that these things were happening as soon as they went in and added that wait room feature. I felt more comfortable going back and using it again, because I can tell the kids to, say, hey, listen, you have to log in with your first name and at least your last initial. If I don't recognize your name, I'm not letting you into the session. So that did help quite a bit. Let's see. I'm not very familiar, Peter, with the WhatsApp. So I'm not 100% sure if you can take videos out of there. I would think that you can, and put those videos onto your phone and then upload them into your, onto your Google Drive. But I am not 100% sure how to use WhatsApp. It's not something that I'm very familiar with, and I apologize for that. Michelle was asking how to do GimKit on Zoom. So basically what I did is I created a kit in GimKit with our vocabulary, and then I used GimKit to launch a game the same way I would normally do as if we were all sitting in the classroom together. And then what I did is I had all of the kids come into a meeting on Zoom, and I shared my screen with them. When I shared my screen with them, the GimKit code was pulled up. And so I had the kids go onto their phone and use open up GimKit on their phone, and then enter the code. And then once they entered the code, that allowed them to enter the game. And they have to see the leaderboard in order to see where everybody falls. And I like them to see the leaderboard. I think it gives them a little more encouragement to try to beat each other. So I went ahead and just shared my screen with them. So they were watching me through Zoom on their computer. And then they were either using another computer or they were using their phone to be on on GimKit. And then I did was it a 20-minute, 15-minute game, I believe it was. And I did 2 sessions with them of that game. So that's how I use Zoom, is I shared my screen with them, and that way they could see the leaderboard. Yes. Yes, students can upload additional materials to turn in with any assignment. That's a great question, Jerry. So once you give an assignment, even if you give them a document. So I noticed that some of my kids, I tend to do things in Google Slides. I give them a Google slide of an intro, and then on the second slide, I'll ask them to type their answers, and I'll give them like a word, just a
text box and say, put your answers here. Sometimes they'll do the work on a Google Doc and then attach the Google Doc back to the assignment. So they just prefer to, I guess, work on a doc and then they can attach it. So they can attach whatever additional materials they want to any assignment that you post. Even if you give them a Google Doc and they do it on a Google slide, they can go ahead and share that with you. Yes, thank you, Bonita. Same to you. Thanks for tuning in. Yes, Suzanne, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. I will do my best to answer those, and I would love to. Hopefully I could do another session then just to show you how to share those specific resources that I have been learning. Michelle, have fun with GimKit. My kids loved it. I have 121 students, and I did 2 different meetings. I did a meeting at 10 o'clock and another one at 1 o'clock. And I did it voluntarily, like the kids were not required to do it. And I had 82 out of the 121 kids tune in between the 2 sessions. So I thought that was pretty good. I was able to have about 40 kids roughly per meeting. And I did 1 session, 15 minutes, and then I said, anybody who wants to hang on, stay on, and I'll do a second. More than half the kids, excuse me, stayed and did another round. So I think they're looking for things to do, and they always love GimKit anyway. So it was very, fun to see them and do something fun like that with them. Let's see. Sally, if you want to do roll remotely, one of my things I would suggest that you do is make one of the topics make it called attendance, and then just put a question, post a question under there, and tell the kids they have to answer the question each day. And that will then let you know that they are logging into their Google Classroom and that they're checking for announcements and assignments. So even if you just gave them the question of, how are you feeling today? ¿Cómo estás hoy? And allowing them to answer, bien, muy bien, mal, muy mal, or whatever. That's a quick and easy way to take attendance. It's just to create that topic and post a question underneath there each day. Let's see. Shiva says that when you turn in a quiz, you don't see the answers in Google Classroom. I think when you create a quiz, generally speaking, it's on a Google form. And so you would go to the Google form and open up the Google spreadsheet, and then the answers will appear in there. If you're doing a Google form that is automatically graded, then you should be able to see the grades. But again, you may have to go back to the option on the Google form. So once you create it, up at the top, there is the little green image of the spreadsheet. Once you create the spreadsheet, the answers pop up in there. And then next to the student's name or email will be how many out of the answers that they got correct. So that would be a quick way to assign them a quiz using a Google form, and then just launch the spreadsheet to find their grades. Okay, I think I got down to the end of the questions. So again, please feel free to email me. I'm not sure if you saw this, but here's my email. So I'm also on Twitter if you wanted to follow. I'm not super exciting on Twitter, but I'm on there. So it just gives you another option. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I hope I grabbed everybody's questions. And let me look over here. I think, yes, thank you for all of the encouraging messages. Let's see. Hopefully I answered all of your questions. Downloading from a textbook, again, downloading from a textbook is, if you have it as a PDF, that's when you want to just go to that feature over here where you print. So you have a download that you purchased, and you go to that save as a PDF feature, you go to pages and you pick the page that you want. So for example, of this reading about soccer, I wanted to be able to provide my students just pages 8 and 9. So I created this PDF of just those 2 pages, and then I was able to upload that PDF to the Google Drive for them. And let's see. Um, let's see, for speaking practice, I highly recommend Flipgrid. And then that way you can make the assignment in Flipgrid and then post the assignment to Google Classroom. And then that way you can go back and check their responses. It allows them to do presentational speaking. You could always do a Zoom with them as well. And you can, if you have the time, meet with them one-on-one to do an interpersonal speaking. Or you can have the students do interpersonal speaking if they have somebody, a sibling at home that they could practice with. But I think Flipgrid is a great way to assign them a topic and have them create a video and then be able to share that back with you. And Chuck will be giving everybody, he said he's emailing everybody tomorrow with the links from the webinar. And then obviously going back on the YouTube channel, you can catch it on there as well. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Otherwise, good luck with everything, and stay safe, stay healthy. We're in this together, so please feel free to ask me questions. I will help you the best I can. I will share anything that I have that is that I can share with you. If you're looking for anything specific about how I use quizzes or Quizlet or Edpuzzle, please ask. I'm more than willing to share those ideas with you as well. So thank you. I think I have questions. So hopefully, if not, if I didn't get something, feel free to email it. Email me that question. So thank you. Good luck, everybody, and stay safe, stay healthy.